This programme is powered by Hankook tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Valero race and rally base layers, and Magla, create your own digital magazine. Hello and welcome to the final round of the Supercar Challenge powered by Hankook. We're at the TT circuit of Assen, where sadly the weather was horrible for the season finale. It really was autumn at its worst, cold and windy. A weekend though for die-hard race fans, because the good news is they were treated to one of the most spectacular racing weekends of the season. Championship titles were still up for grabs in Supersport 1 and GT classes after Supersport 2 and Sport Crowns had already been decided. So let's take a look at our contenders. In the GT class, Vard Slice is the reigning champion, and with co-driver Bas Schouten, he has a comfortable points lead. They're 31 clear after 14 races, 6 class wins, no fewer than 9 top 3 results. That's 9 podium finishes. Impressive results for the JR Motorsport BMW M4 Silhouette drivers, but their biggest advantage is thanks to their 8 pole positions and 12 fastest laps, 20 bonus points. And here in Assen, they also claim both pole positions. When I put my helmet on, all strategy was gone and it was just full throttle, says Bas Schouten. I wanted to squeeze everything out of the car to guarantee that we took pole, and we managed to do it. I'm still nervous though, despite taking both poles and the extra 2 points. What could ruin it is if we drop out of the race, but I'm still hopeful.
Wel ja, ik denk dat we dit weekend gewoon moeten aanvatten zoals alle andere weekends.
I think we just have to do the same we've done every weekend. Mustn't let it get into our head that we could be champions. There's lots of things that could go wrong. The car, the race, the pit stops, they all have to be good. We can't afford any mistakes. It'll be a rainy weekend as well, so we have to be careful. Our main goal is to finish both races as close as possible to our main rival, so we'll see how it goes. Their rival in the title fight is multiple Super GT champion Roger Graals, driving a Porsche Cup 991. His foray into the GT Championship started well, but his 31 points deficit is mainly down to technical problems at Spa and also here in Assen during the Gamma Racing Day. Though pole positions and fastest lap times have slipped through his fingers this season, Graals has won 2 races and he has been on the podium a remarkable 11 times so far this year.
Voor het kampioenschap is het natuurlijk jammer dat...
Shame for me that Ward and Bus have scored 2 poles. Well, not really a shame, but it'll be a lot tougher for me to beat them, let's say that. But that's how it is, we have to deal with it. And we'll just see if the championship will be decided today or tomorrow. Reigning champions in Supersport 1 are Seat Leon Cup drivers Dennis de Borst and Martin de Klein, and they're well placed to extend their hold on that title. Last year they came from behind in the points but managed to snatch the crown. This year they start the Hankook finals with a head start, even if it is only a slender 3 points. They've only won 1 race this year, but they've made 9 visits to the podium and claimed 4 pole positions and a fastest lap. But here in Assen, their Seat is struggling in the tricky track conditions. We already knew we'd be at a disadvantage against the BMW in the wet. We've tried everything we can think of, but we still haven't managed really to find the best setup for the car. We had too much oversteer, the car was all over the place, it was almost scary to drive. So this was the best we could do, 4th in qualifying. Rain's forecast for today, there's always a chance it might be dry though, and that would be better for our car. So are we going to wait or change the setup? It's pretty nerve-wracking at the moment, to be honest. It's going to be quite a challenge for us, says his teammate Martin de Klein. Luckily, Dennis managed to get 4th in qualifying, so our plan is we have to stay up front. We've got to keep an eye on our championship rivals, see what they're doing during the race, and then we'll see what happens. Those rivals are Erik van den Munkhoff and Henry Zumbrink in the BMW Z4 GTR run by Van der Paas Racing. Everything has seemed to be on their side this season, with 4 race wins, 8 podium finishes, 4 poles and 3 fastest laps. They seemed to be holding all the cards until the last couple of rounds, when fate took a turn for the worse. Henry Zumbrink has been in the Super GT class for many years and was the championship runner-up many times. He's looking forward to the challenge of trying to win the crown in Supersport 1.
Ja, ik hoop eigenlijk dit weekend een keer misschien P1 te kunnen pakken voor het kampioenschap.
Be great if we could win the race, and that would certainly help us move closer to winning the championship. Right now we're 2nd in the championship points. Qualifying went according to plan. We took pole for the first race. Not sure about the second race yet, but it's starting to look very promising.
Nee, ja, we moeten vandaag gewoon alles op alles zetten.
Today we're leaving nothing to chance, says Eric. We have to just give it everything. We're not going to start calculating points every time that we think what we're going to do. It's just got to be full throttle. We do have some advantage over our rivals, and that's that we don't have any result seconds for the first race, while the others have to add result seconds to their pit stops. So that's already good news for us, and we're starting from pole, so we have to see how it goes. Dennis de Boers comes over to wish Henry Zumbrink good luck. They're both starting the 60-minute race. Erik van der Munkhoff and Henry Zumbrink also claim pole for race 2, by the way, so they're now just 1 point behind. As in most races this season, Bascouten will start the car he shares with Vard Slice. He's pretty relaxed if they don't win the title in race 1. They have race 2 as a backup, but their rival Roger Graals is not relaxed. The track is damp and slowly drying. He'll have to be error-free and hope that the BMW Silhouette strikes trouble. Start of race 1, the penultimate race of the weekend. Everybody starting on the medium compound Hankook slick because there is a narrow dry line. Roger Graals and Bascouten safely through the first corner, but Wiebe Weizers gets it wrong, spins, and he also clatters Costa Canaroglu, who's in the pits with damage.
I think we had a misunderstanding between the KTM and me. He sort of leaned in a little bit on my line. I wasn't fast enough to lift off. He slowed down, so I bumped him a bit, and I made him stop even more, and somebody bumped him again, so he turned into me. So I think it was just a series of bad lucks. But I had to come in, and we wasted about 10 minutes changing the back.
All of which means that he won't make 75% distance, gets no points, fourth in the championship in danger. A change onto slicks for Jos Janssen. Wets weren't the right call. He gambled incorrectly. Vard Slice waiting for the mandatory pit stops. Teammate Bascouten is leading the race over this man, Roger Graals. Graals comes in the Porsche, driving solo as ever. He's 30 seconds behind at this stage, and both have 30 result seconds in the pits to add to their stops, so it's effectively neutral. Out hops Bascouten, in gets Vard Slice. Earlier in the season, he wasn't very confident in the car in the wet after having a big crash in a wet race in Palanga, but having completed successfully a soaking wet 12 hours of Spa-Francorchamps, he's regained that confidence, so nothing should lie in their way in race 1. Henry Zumbrink far from happy. Disappointment for him in the BMW. Dropped back from pole to somewhere in midfield in Supersport 1 after electronic problems led to issues with the gear shift and other vital functions. The team have put in a new battery, push start the car. Problems too though for Dennis de Boers, handing over to Martin de Klein. He passed Henry Zumbrink, but they're still in 4th place, and he mistimed the pit stop because they're stuck with a safety car out on circuit. And the safety car is scrambled because of an incident involving Edward Graals and Teun Rutgers. Graals chasing brother Roger through traffic. Rutgers right in front in his own battle. It's a big shunt, and Edward has dislocated his shoulder.
Het had natuurlijk altijd anders gekund en ik denk dat die andere...
Well, naturally, this isn't the sort of thing that anybody wants to happen. I wish it had a different outcome. I think Teun, the other driver, is of the same opinion. We've both got damage, and I'm afraid we've both come to the conclusion it's a racing incident. We're all here to race. Teun Rutgers was trying to pass BMW driver Hanna Terrien when it all went wrong around him.
Ik had het idee dat hij meer naar rechts zou rijden.
I thought that he'd be much further over to the right-hand side. I saw him coming, but I'm really sorry about the accident. I've just had a chat with Edward. We both looked each other right in the eye, and we've just come to the conclusion that we both made a mistake. I'm really grateful that we both escaped this accident, though, with only minor injuries. Well, suddenly everything is going wrong. As the safety car is scrambled, Erik van der Munkhoff has got no power left and the engine dies. As people check up to avoid passing each other under the safety car, the Lotus driver Roland de Waard crashes into the back of Ted van Vleert's BMW, and oil is hosed down the main straight. The red flags fly, and Erik van der Munkhoff is pushed into the pit lane, which turns out to be a bit of a lucky break.
Ja,
Nou ja, ik vind
Ja.
geen geluk hebben.
Well, we were able to fix the problem in the pit lane, but maybe not lucky. At the Nürburgring, we had our fair share of bad fortune. The engine went into limp home mode, and now again we got problems with the engine. At Brands Hatch, somebody bumped into us. We lost a lot of time there too. So despite having a good start to the season, we're struggling now. We're in the closing stages. With the race stopped, damaged cars are recovered and the main straight is cleaned because of the oil. Erik van der Munkhof's Van der Paas racing team find the electrical problem. It was a starter motor cable causing a short. Cars on the straight can't be worked on. Hopefully they will all be able to restart. After a 15-minute delay, they get going again with just 8 minutes on the clock. Vaardsluis, able to restart the car, takes the lead. Mark van der Aar is second in the black and blue BMW Silhouette. Roger Graus chasing him, and seen on board from Jos Janssen. Graus bumps across the grass and suddenly slows. It's drama, he's out of the race. And the points he's earned are not enough to keep the championship alive.
Ik zat toch redelijk naast hem, maar hij deed langzaam.
I was almost next to him, and he still closed the door by turning in towards the apex, so I had to choose between hitting him or cutting across the grass. The grass unfortunately turned out to have a big bump in it, and there was no escaping hitting it. It damaged the front of the car, the radiator, and I knew immediately that was the end of it because I could smell that the water was leaking out. So to save the engine, I had to come straight into the pit lane. Vaardsluis still needed to finish, and he did. 7th win of the season for the duo. He continues as the GT champion and secures the first GT title for teammate Bas Schouten. They've had their share of bad luck. They had no points in race 1 at Red Bull Ring after a brake failure and a crash. At Assen in August, they also ran into trouble when the engine let go the same weekend that Roger Graus' gearbox failed. So it wasn't consistency that gave them the title, perhaps, but outright speed. We knew we didn't have to win the race to become champions, but to do it anyway and claim the title is awesome. Bas did a perfect first stint as ever, some impressive lap times. Unfortunately, the safety car came out, so all that hard work was undone, but we kept our focus throughout the race, and we had a fantastic win. It's a top 3 for JR Motorsport, the 3 BMW M4 Silhouettes on the podium. Organisers have already announced that next year they will be slowed down. So with one race remaining, Vaardsluis and Bas Schouten cannot be caught. They are the GT class champions. Erik van der Munkhoff and Henry Zumbrink finish 6th in Supersport 1. Dennis de Borsten and Martin de Klein are second, extending their points lead to 17. Marcel van der Maat and Peter Schroyers winning. Benjamin Vandenberg in 3rd spot. BMW drivers Roger Deleu and Patrick de Fredo win Supersport 2 from Hanna Terrium. And it's another win for sport champions Bart van der Broek and Chris Voet, their 15th podium finish. The final race of the 2017 Supercar Challenge powered by Hankook still to come, and the Supersport 1 title yet to be decided. This programme is powered by Hankook Tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Valero race and rally base layers, and Magla, create your own digital magazine. It's round 8 of the Supercar Challenge powered by Hankook at the TT circuit of Assen, and with the titles decided in GT, Supersport 2 and Sport, there is just Supersport 1 to go. Weak autumn sunshine and no rain now, but the track is very wet after a shower or two, so wets are the way to go. Pole position for the champions, Bas Schouten starting the race as ever. Also on the front row, in a silhouette, Koen Bokars, who's in the car, and Mark van der Aar. They want to claim 3rd in the championship. They're 19 points off it in 4th at the moment behind Bob Herber. Roger Graus in 3rd place will be runner-up in the championship. He can't be caught. Getting ready to start from pole in Supersport 1 is Erik van der Munkhoff. He and Henry Zumbrink 17 points now behind championship leaders Dennis de Borst and Martin de Klein. But if the BMW drivers win the race and the Seat drivers are 6th or lower, Erik van der Munkhoff and Henry Zumbrink will win the Supersport 1 title. They have 0 result seconds, but there are 30 for Dennis de Borst and Martin de Klein here, the defending champions. 9 competitors in Supersport 1, and the Seat not strongest in the wet. Dennis de Boer scheduled to start 5th in Supersport 1, but Van der Kooi Racing couldn't fix Roland de Vaart's damaged Lotus Exige that left the oil in race 1, and so basically de Boer is already up to 4th place. Right in front, Ronald van Loon up to 2nd as he creeps forward a row into the gap in front of him. Bascout and Kumbo-Karts leading the field out for the final time. Red lights are on as they exit the Geert Timmer chicane, and away they go. It is a wet track. The BMW silhouettes side by side. Roger Grau's battling with Bob Herbert further back with Per de Schroers, the orange BMW coming down the inside of the Seat. Around the outside, the blue and white BMW, Ronald van Loon takes the lead from Erik van der Munkhoff, and there is Schroers, the race 1 winner, right behind Dennis de Boer. Looking to go around the outside of the Seat, there's de Boer on the right hand side. Has the BMW got the grip? Looks like it has. Black BMW silhouette in front, Kumbo-Karts with the lead from Bascouten. Roger Graals in 3rd place in the Porsche, Bob Herber in 4th in his BMW silhouette. Battling for 4th place in Supersport 1, trying to get around the Seat. And there is the view from Dennis de Boer's Seat, watching the mirrors. He's changing up the gears. Oh, and down from 3rd to 2nd, Per de Schroers. There goes Ruud Olly and Priscilla Speelman. Leader Kumbo-Karts, the black car, battle for 2nd. Through on the inside, the white car of Bob Herber passes Roger Graals. Bascouten 4th. And here on board with Erik van der Munkhoff, there is Ronald van Loon. Now Van Loon moved forward a row at the rolling start and then swept around the outside of Van der Munkhoff to take the lead. Van der Munkhoff cuts underneath the BMW to retake the Supersport 1 lead. GT class out front. There is Van der Munkhoff ahead of Ronald van Loon. And the back of this group, Ted van Vliet holding off Costa Canaroglu's yellow-nosed Ginetta until he has a big moment. Costa Canaroglu goes through for 8th. Yellow and red Clios of Rob Neiman and Jos Velper leading the sport class. 3rd is the BMW Z4 silhouette of Henk Teppel. And there's a mixture of slicks and wets among these competitors. With Bascouten chasing down Roger Graals for 3rd place in the GT class. M4 silhouettes 1st and 2nd. And as they come into the braking area, he goes around the Porsche to make it a JR Motorsport 1, 2, 3 for the M4 silhouettes. Dennis de Boer chasing in 4th place in Supersport 1. Erik van der Munkhoff leads, but even if Van der Munkhoff wins, de Boer only needs a top 6 finish to be the champion. There's Van der Munkhoff ahead of Ronald van Loon. Benjamin Vandenberg in 3rd place. And Dennis de Boer in 4th, gets a good exit from the Geert Timmer chicane, all over the inside of the BMW, eyes on the prize, down into the first corner, ignores Benjamin Vandenberg, but the wipers are on the straight, it is very wet. There's the set, he's gone through. Go on, says Benjamin, because he's coming under pressure from behind. 2 more BMWs. First of all, Ruud Olly, then the orange car, Per de Schroers. We're on board with Per de Schroers. And you can see that this is a real bottleneck here. Trying to go around the outside, the orange car, Per de Schroers. Ruud Olly right on the inside. The 1 Series escapes. The Seat offline on the left, but stays there in 3rd position. Top 4 all together, battle for the lead. Bob Herber trying to go the long way around the outside in the white silhouette. Roger Graals Porsche underneath him. Back in front to Bascouten. Bascouten with a bit of a handful of opposite lock, and as the rain seems to be returning, this is a very tight battle. And it is definitely wetter, and that does look as though it might be favouring Roger Graals. Look at the Porsche in front, trying to get a run going on the white car of Bob Herber. The rear engine in the Porsche traditionally has always given it great wet weather balance, and in these slippery conditions, look how busy Bascouten's hands are. Roger Graals up to 2nd. This could play well for the Porsche driver. If it remains greasy like this, he could be in with a shout. Battle for 3rd place. Bob Herber just keeps his nose in front as the black BMW leads. 3rd place battle, Bascouten inside Bob Herber. Herber on the painted curbs loses traction and drops to 4th place. Erik van der Munkhoff still leading Supersport 1 by inches from Ronald van Loon and Dennis de Boer. Per de Schroers here battling with Benjamin Vandenberg. Can't quite find the traction on the wet curbs on the inside, but look in front. Dennis de Boer in the Seat goes by Ronald van Loon up to 2nd place. Only needs a top 5 finish if Erik van der Munkhoff wins the race. But now he's piling the pressure on. Looking back, there is Van Loon. Battle between Schroers and Vandenberg in the chicane. A bit of door banging. Schroers with the run around the outside. That gear change didn't sound great, nor did that one either. I wonder if he's still got a problem that could come back to haunt him. Eric van der Munkhoff leading. Second place for the Seat to Dennis de Borst, but with 30 seconds more to spend in the pit lane, don't forget. So de Borst needs to keep the pressure on. And he is doing. Looking back from the leader, there is the Seat that the team reckon doesn't have a great wet weather setup. Well, it's slithery. The track is greasy as anything, but he's still trying to drive around the outside of Eric van der Munkhoff, trying to take the lead, doesn't get it, and Ronald van Loon is inside him now on the straight. The 2-litre turbo Seat just starts to pull away enough. He's got a little bit of an overlap. Van Loon, though, around the outside. Can he get it stopped? Yes, he can, just about. Back up into second place. Dennis de Borst shouting at himself. And there, right behind him, is the orange car, Peter Schroers. Don't forget, Schroers and Marcel van der Maat won the first race. He goes inside Dennis de Borst. So maybe the Seat doesn't quite have the grip. Back in GT, Bas Schouten, third place, got a really good run going on Roger Graals. He's going to go down the inside this time into the Geert Timmer chicane. Back in front of the Porsche. Last time we saw that move, he went around the outside, this time on the inside. And Bob Herber's right there as well. Roger Graals under attack left, right and centre. And it is still a fantastic battle for the lead in GT, for the lead of the race. Koen Bokart's the black car. Inside him, Bas Schouten, who had dropped to fourth, now back up and challenging for the lead. Roger Graals, second, third, second. At the moment in third place, Bob Herber in fourth, but this could go any way, couldn't it? Any one of these cars could easily win this race. Bas Schouten, he's got a run down Fenslang. He's got the inside line. He goes through into the lead for the first time. Koen Bokart's behind him. Took the lead in turn one, hasn't been headed up until now. And has the rain now stopped again? Bas Schouten leading, Koen Bokart second, Roger Graals third, Bob Herber fourth. Battle for second in Supersport 1, Ronald van Loon in front of us. We ride on board with Peter Schroers. Schroers has come nicely through the field up to second place. And there's Dennis de Borst in the Seat behind in fourth place, still in a position to win the title, just where he needs to be. Costa Canaroglu struggling in the background, didn't have a great race one after getting caught up in the oily incident. Now trying to slide up the inside of Priscilla Spellman's Seat Leon, and through he goes. Battle in front, Ruud Olly on the outside of Dennis de Borst. This is for fourth place in the Supersport 1 class. And Ruud Olly can't find the traction there to go the long way around the outside, but he's certainly trying. With Koen Bokart's second place, he's got a run now on the leader, Bas Schouten. Not enough of one though into the Geert Timmer chicane. He gets a bit squirrely on the way in, Schouten on the outside, but Bob Herber, leaning on former Super GT rival Roger Graals as the lead changes. And Schouten drifts out wide over the curbs, over the AstroTurf. Not much grip out there. Through then goes Koen Bokart's back in the lead. Schouten second, Roger Graals still third ahead of Bob Herber. Fantastic wheel-to-wheel racing, keeping the crowd entertained and the drivers as well. Big slide there from Roger Graals, and that might be bad news. It is. Bob Herber gets off the corner cleanly. He's got the advantage. He's got the speed in hand. Thumbs up to Roger Graals for giving him racing room. BMW's back up to 1, 2, 3. The Porsche in fourth. The rain stopped and the M4 silhouettes are back in charge. The balance of power in Supersport 1 seesawing around as well. Eric van der Munkhoff leads, but now from Peter Schroers in the orange car. Ronald van Loon in third. Dennis de Borst in fourth, but under pressure from Ruud Olly. And Ruud Olly with a great exit from the chicane. He's going to go by. De Borst down to fifth. They can't drop any lower. This is danger time for them. Ruud Olly, whoa, big handful there. There's a big moment as he chases Ronald van Loon. Keeps control of the car though. And Peter Schroers, the race one winner, looking to go by Eric van der Munkhoff. He's got a good run going here. Van der Munkhoff trying to defend but must avoid contact. They need to win the race in this BMW Z4 GTR. But right now, Peter Schroers is out front. Supersport 2 winner from race 1 still leading. And this is Roger Delot, the Drift King. In Sport 1, Rob Neiman on wets is out front. Jos Veldboer on wets in second place. Track currently wet, so wets are the tyre to have, and that's what the Alpha of John van der Voort has got. But look on slicks, Chris Vogt, showing that it is not yet at the changeover point. Top 4 in GT all on wets, but Wiebe Weizsäß in his Porsche is on slicks, and he's going 10 seconds a lap quicker. The pit stops are late in this race, between the 30th and the 40th minute of the hour-long race, so he could be a contender for the lead. Battle for the lead now, though, is between Koen Bogaerts and Bas Schouten. And this ferocious lead quartet battle is also helping to wear out the tyres on all these cars. Bob Herber goes around Schouten and up into second place. He was on the wetter part of the track through the chicane and found some grip. Sun's out now, though. The track is drying, and these wet weather tyres are going to really start to surrender their grip. You can see the cars moving around a lot already. On board with Bas Schouten on the power. Big slide off the corner. Battle for second in Supersport 1. Erik van der Munkhoff ahead of Ruud Olly in number 246. And we're riding right behind with Ronald van Loon. Big slide off the corner from Ruud Olly. But there's traffic in front. And Erik van der Munkhoff having to have a little lift going around. Hannah Terrium's BMW Cup car loses ground, and through goes Ruud Olly. And Ronald van Loon will follow as well. Van der Munkhoff in fourth, but look at Costa Canaroglu in the blue and yellow Ginetta, sixth position at the moment, dives to the inside at the hairpin. Dennis de Boers drifts out wide. He's got traction there, Costa Canaroglu. He goes through for fifth. Challenging Erik van der Munkhoff, looking to go around the outside, cuts back to the inside, chops the nose off Dennis de Boers. Van der Munkhoff clinging on to fourth place. Dark skies in the distance, but it's still sunny on this drying Assen track. Van der Munkhoff just out wide, losing ground. Through goes Canaroglu, and look alongside him now is Dennis de Boers. And de Boers goes through as well. Van der Munkhoff down to 6. This is his teammate, Henry Zumbrink. They've got 0 result seconds. Dennis de Boers and Martin de Klein have got 30, so have the race leaders Peter Schroys and Marcel van der Maat. Supersport 1 stopping between the 20th and the 30th minute of the race, changing onto slicks. Dennis de Boers and Martin de Klein. De Klein goes back out. In the GT class, Bob Herber challenging for the lead with Koen Bogaerts. We're right behind with Bas Schouten. They're stopping in the next 10-minute group after 30 minutes have elapsed. Schouten with the lead. And look, there's a full dry line on the racetrack now, and that's why these guys are hunting for the wet. Through goes Bas Schouten on the inside. Herber drifting out wide over the curbs. And the black car, Koen Bogaerts, right with them. Roger Graals just out of contention in this trio. Graals, 2.5, nearly 2 seconds back now, as the BMW M4 silhouettes continue to show just how competitive they are with each other. Bob Herber on the inside, big slide off the corner from Bas Schouten, but he's got the lead. And Herber under threat for second place from Koen Bogaerts. Wiebe Weizsäß in the Porsche gaining fast on the GT leaders, and he will move into the lead as the top 4 come through and change to slicks. He started on slicks. Now his tyres would have done 40 minutes work, while theirs will be fresh. Nevertheless, the gamble could be working out well for him. Bob Herber's white silhouette carving its way through the Supersport 1 field. Ruud Olly's BMW alongside him. Costa Canaroglu there in third place after the stops. Henry Zumbrink leads, but they're closing fast on the sport leaders. And there's contact, misjudgment by Ruud Olly. He hits Bob Herber on his outside, and Jos Velboer in the second place Sport Clio is in the gravel as well. Let's take a look again then with Bob Herber. There's Ruud Olly in front, gets a big slide going. The Clios are in front, he's got to come by, but he fails to negotiate Bob Herber, who's already outside him. Big crash for Bob Herber.
Achter op het circuit liep ik op wat achterblijven.
Out the back of the circuit, I was closing up on some back markers. One of them was a BMW, Ruud Olly. He'd already ignored 3 blue flags. Then on the exit of Dijkslot, I was completely alongside him. He was stuck behind a Renault and just turned right. So he hit me. I hit the tyre wall doing about 200 kilometers an hour. Behind me you can see what's left of the car, so I'm not exactly thrilled with what he did. Victory and the GT win not decided until the checkered flag. Last lap of the race, Mark van der Aar with a damaged M4 silhouette splitter chattering on the ground. Roger Graals, desperate to try and win the last race of the season, has a little run going, gets alongside the BMW M4 silhouette, but Mark van der Aar on the inside manages to cling on to the checkered flag. So despite that noisy damage splitter, it's victory for Koen Bogaerts and Mark van der Aar in the final race of the 2017 Supercar Challenge powered by Hankook. Roger Graals taking second ahead of the new champions, and that slick tyre gamble paying off with fourth place for Weber-Weizsäß.
Nee, dat was wel echt alles. Ja, de splitter was gebroken.
Had to give it everything. We had a broken splitter with 8 laps to go. The problem was getting worse with every lap. I really thought I was going to have to just retire, but the team said it's just the splitter. But when you're doing over 200 kilometres an hour, the car's shaking you to pieces. You don't feel comfortable. But we won. What a great way to end the season. We're third in the championship. Yeah, a great result for us. Because of his crash, Bob Herbert doesn't get any points, so they do move up to third in the championship. Second place, Roger Graals, and the victors, Vard Slice and Bas Schouten, finishing third in the last race. After the pit stops, Henry Tumbrink moves up to the lead in Supersport 1. Martin de Klein takes fifth after Ruud Ollie crashes with Bob Herber. The Seat drivers lead by 2 points into the closing stages.
Eén klein foutje gemaakt.
Yeah, I made a bit of mistake in my stint. Unfortunately, Per Schroyers managed to slip by me. Later on lost a couple more places. But overall not unhappy. We got an early pit stop in, changed to slicks. And that was a good call because Henry Tumbrink's lap times have really dropped. He's leading the race now. So it's all going well. And all we need now is a miracle. Is it divine intervention that brings the return of the rain in the closing stages? The BMW is excellent in the rain. The Seat not so much. But fourth place Marcel van der Mark makes a mistake in the final chicane, hits the wall. The race one winners will continue but finish 8th. And because of a mistake by Robert Vandenberg in the rain, Martin de Klein is in third, now chasing Costa Canaroglu for second place. Gets by the Greek driver on the straight. Canaroglu immediately retaliates back up into second. Eventually de Klein is pushed down to fourth place in the last couple of laps by Luc van Loon's BMW. Costa Canaroglu takes the bonus point for fastest lap. And the champions then by 3 points are the defending title holders, Dennis de Borst and Martin de Klein, along with Ferry Monster Autosport, their second straight title. And the last for Martin de Klein, as he is retiring from racing and will not rejoin Dennis de Borst for a three-peat. Tumbrink and Van der Munkhoff with the race, but it is the Seat drivers who win the championship battle.
Ja, stop.
Awesome. Dennis did a great stint. I found it really difficult when it started to rain out the back, says Martin. Some parts were still dry, others wet. Hankook was really slippery. We needed fifth, we finished fourth. I decided not to take any risks in the final few laps. I was battling with Canaroglu, our Greek friend, but I decided I'd just let him go. It wasn't worth the risk. My only goal was to bring the car home in one piece. Managed to do that with the new champions. Fantastic. Such a relief. Such a great feeling to win the championship in the final race of the season. It's just amazing. Very proud of the team. They gave us a perfect handling car. Just awesome. Eric van der Munkhoff offers his congratulations. He and Henry Tumbrink did all they could, winning the final race. Eric van der Munkhoff didn't even come close to a sniff of the title last year after so much bad luck. This year, just inches away. Second for Costa Canaroglu is only his fourth podium appearance after 3 wins this year, so he drops to fifth. Ron and Luc van Loon move up to second in the championship, and after 16 races, the title decided by just 3 points. In Supersport 2, Hanna Terrium finishes second with the BMW Cup car. Roger Deloy and Patrick de Freda again win the race in their BMW M3, their second of the weekend. They had gambled on slicks, and the gamble paid off.
Als een van de weinigen toch besloten om op slicks te gaan voor.
Yeah, weren't many of us went out on slicks at the start. I know this track like the back of my hand, says Roger, but racing on slicks in these conditions was a completely new experience. But the drifting was fun. After 4 or 5 laps, dry line started to appear, so we started with a nice drift show for the fans and then made our way forward. Yeah, it was cool. Rob Neiman led the sport class in his Renault Clio for most of the first stint until the track started drying up. He was on wets. Towards the end of the race, the new sport champions, Chris Vogt and Bart van der Broek, closed in the Peugeot RCZ. They were on slicks all the way through, and they claimed victory in the second race by just half a second. Focus Silhouette driver Wim Lemmers finished in third, as teammate Kim Troyen did in race 1. The Peugeot RCZ's teething problems are now forgotten. Chris Furt and Park van den Broek, the class of the field, the 2017 champions. Assen also marked the 6th and final round for the GT and Prototype Challenge, powered by Hankook. Stay tuned for all the action. This programme is powered by Hankook Tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Valero Race and Rally Base Layers, and Magla. Create your own digital magazine. Welcome to the GT and Prototype Challenge powered by Hankook for the 6th and final time this season. We're on the 4.6 kilometre TT circuit at Assen, and the Dutch Cathedral of Speed would be the perfect track for these nimble CN and Le Mans prototypes. High speed, quick corners. It's a great challenge for these racers. Two of the titles would be tied up without a battle. LMP3 going to racing experienced drivers David and Gary Hauser. Points leader Kuba Schmakovsky was absent. He and Euro Interpol competition were racing in the European Le Mans Series all year as well, and it was a clashing event. Missing a couple of races because they were preparing for the 24 Hours of Zolder, Deldish Racing has returned with reigning champions Luc de Kock and Tim Josen. Despite their absence, they too can't be caught in the CN competition, and so they will be double champions. They've got little to lose here in Assen, but they do want to show their pace this weekend in their familiar Norma M20 FC before it's replaced by a turbo version next year, and they claim pole for both races despite the treacherous conditions.
What have
we got to prove? Well, it's an amazing track to drive on. Hopefully the weather will improve, but the conditions will be the same for everybody, and we want to win. Track conditions are very tricky at the moment. It'll probably be the same throughout the weekend. Dry, wet, somewhere in between. I prefer it to be entirely wet or completely dry, not a mixture. Nobody prefers that. But that's tricky, and tricky can be fun. And so they proved in the opening race. Luc de Kock and Tim Josen won the CN class, and they were 3500ths behind David and Gary Hauser, the overall race winners. Tim Josen will start race 2 from pole position. Alongside him, a man doing double duty, Bob Herber, starting on the outside of the front row of the grid. His Radical SR8 also in the CN class. He was 4th in race 1. Former GP2 driver Daniel de Jong starting 7th overall in the Mercedes AMG GT3 run by MP Motorsport, a new project warming up for the 24 Hours of Dubai. Father Henk de Jong did race 1 and finished 5th overall. Daniel damaged the car in free practice on Friday, so it's his first outing in the car after that mishap. LMP3 drivers David and Gary Hauser start last. They were too late in qualifying, did their laps in the rain while others had already posted them in the dry. Ready to start with Barry Van Elk in the mighty Mosler. He's 5th on the grid. Tim Josen and Bob Herber, the front row men, blast away from the start. Henk Tace and Tim Gray from row 2, trying to get around and look at the little blue Radical R1 Turbo of Tim Gray. Got great run down into the first corner. Tim Josen swatted up as the Pumax of Henk Tace goes by from 3rd place. Can't get the traction on the exit. We're right behind with Barry Van Elk. There goes the Pumax. And right in front of us is the poleman Tim Josen. So it is Bob Herber who leads the race from Tim Gray. Very tricky conditions for these big muscle car engines like the Pumax, the engine in the front, and Barry Van Elk's Mosler with the engine in the rear. And the lighter, nimbler, less powerful prototypes should make easy meat of them in the slow stuff, and the quick high-speed corners, their aerodynamics should work well. But look at the power of the Pumax. Challenging Tim Gray for 2nd place, can't get through. Barry Van Elk in 4th spot, right behind Henk Tace. Out front though, the red car, Tim Josen. Oh, and a big wriggle there off the corner from Tim Gray in the Praga R1 Turbo, the blue and yellow machine. The Mercedes goes the long way round the outside, looking for grip. Tim Josen skids off the curbs into the Merc, and he's off on the inside of the circuit and comes to an undignified halt. In the pits for a check-up, loses a couple of laps. Everything seems okay with the car, explains what happens. That's not what we saw. The Mercedes stayed out wide and you moved into him, Tim. Barry van Elk on the charge. Second lap of this wet race. And he moves up into second place. Hankook, Tim Gray down to third place. The CN cars struggling in the wet. They're lighter than these big Goliaths and they are aquaplaning. Through goes Henk Tace for third. Moves up in second Val. And there is Daniel de Jong. He goes by as well. So too does David Hauser. He's up to fifth from back of the grid. Daniel de Jong goes by Henk Tace up to third place. De Jong. That's 2 spots in 2 corners. Bob Herber's cleared off. Barry van Elk second in the Mosler. De Jong third in the Mercedes. Then Henk Tace, David Hauser, and Tim Gray in sixth in the Praga R1 Turbo. Lead trio, Bob Herber up to second. Daniel de Jong, he's just got by Barry van Elk's Mosler there in third place and piling the pressure on the race leader. The lighter CM prototype under real pressure in the straight lines from the power of the Mercedes and the Mosler. And through on the inside goes Daniel de Jong. Has he got the overlap? Just about grabs the lead, but at the hairpin, carries speed in, goes the long way round the outside. So through on the inside comes Bob Herber and Barry van Elk on the inside of the Mercedes as well. He's boxing it in behind the CN, but although he's got the overlap now, he will be on the wetter, slippery racing line. And through down on the inside comes de Jong to plant his car across the curbs. Big handful there as Barry van Elk gets onto the throttle. Great door handle to door handle action between these two hugely powerful supercars and the light, nimble, radical SR8. The Mercedes again with the power off the corner. Through goes Daniel de Jong. Bob Herber down to second place. Well, he'll hang on to second and the CN lead up to the pit stops as Barry van Elk drops back. Daniel de Jong holds the lead through the pit stops but stays on wets. It's too wet to change. Despite pushing hard, the rain tyres are still in very good nick. He's moving over to find the wet patches wherever he can. The Mercedes has a 550 horsepower twin-turbo V8 compared to 420 in the Ligier LMP3 car, and it weighs 1,300 kilos, 400 kilos more than the Racing Experience machine. The Ligier chasing down the Mercedes, faster lap times, but only a tenth of a second a lap faster. Can they catch him? In the final stages of the race, Henk Tace, Super GT, second place, being chased down by Alan Berg in the Praga R1, who's second in a CN class. And finally, the damp patches catch out Henk Tace, braking for Harbot. He has a big moment, and then there's contact. Both are out, and a heated discussion soon follows. But clearly, the mistake made by Henk Tace under braking. The veteran is out of luck this time, but there are no mistakes by Daniel de Jong as he claims the final race win of the season, beating Gary Hauser's Ligier by 12 seconds. Everything went according to plan. It had rained, but it was definitely doable, and the track started to dry up a little, but that made it very slippery. That got better bit by bit, so all in all, track conditions were okay, I say. Very happy with the result. Much needed win for the team who did an all-nighter to repair the car after my crash earlier to get it ready for the first race, so just amazing. Excellent race. Winners in LMP3 and second overall, David and Gary Hauser, the first champions in LMP3 in the inaugural year of the GT and Prototype Challenge.
I think it was a very good year, a year in which we learned a lot. And yeah, so at the end of the year we can be, I think, very satisfied with everything we've learned and all the races we've done together with our team that has a great job all over the season, so we can only thank them as well.
I went from nearly losing my legs for the whole life to winning the championship, so it's a year of complete up and down, so it was a bit emotional now after the last race because you reflect on the whole season, on the whole year. So I'm really happy to be here with my family, my team, and I'm proud of what we've achieved.
SR3 champion Wim Uris couldn't make it to Assen. Fiona James won both races with her Praga R1T, while series promoter Dick Van Elk was runner-up on both occasions in an identical car. Despite their crash, Tim Josten and Luc de Cock were third in CN after Alan Berg's Praga was taken out in the crash with Henk Tace. They were 2 laps behind Radical SR8 driver Daniel Schlitgen, who started from the pit lane, but Bob Herber claimed the final CN win of the year.
Ja,
Everything went according to plan. Start was good. This time I managed to get enough temperature in the tyres, so no spin in turn 1. And I also had good lap times, taking the overall lead. It was great to be up front, battling with the GTs and LMP3s. An amazing race. Car was great fun to compete in the series and win the class. And that's it for the GT and Prototype Challenge and the Supercar Challenge powered by Hankook for 2017. Don't forget, you'll be able to catch up with all the highlights from the season in our annual review coming soon. And we'll see you next year. Bye for now. This programme is powered by Hankook Tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Valero Race and Rally Base Layers, and Magla. Create your own digital magazine.